Hey, 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 welcome back to Drive Time. I am your host, Craig Pasta Jardula, and we do it live, bringing you all the hot takes, headlines, and unfiltered opinions that matter most. Whether you're stuck in traffic, cruising to work, or just chilling at home, we want to hear from you. Today's topics are all about the big stories making waves, but we're not just here to talk at you. We want to hear your thoughts, your experiences, and your take on everything from the latest political debates to the everyday challenges we face. Remember, whether you're on the left, the right, or somewhere in between, we welcome all points of view. So grab that hands-free device, dial us up, and let's dive into the conversation. What's on your mind? It's Drive Time. Call in now. Good morning, y'all. It's Friday. Drive Time here. Of course, your time, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to call on in. This is your show to do so. We've been waking up. Episode number 10. Of course, I'm here with my Friday co-host, Andrew Zigman, is in the house. How you doing? How's the mime?
Oh, everything's going great, man. It's been a wonderful week.
I was so happy yesterday to text you, and I'm like, hey, you ready for tomorrow? And you're like, yeah, I'm pumped. I'm like, I'm so pumped that you're pumped. Of course, we want to say hello to our guy who gets up every single morning at the crack of noon, Sleepy Josh. He's
the real hero here, man. He's been going since before any of us.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I'm an hour back from y'all. So.
Yeah. No, I just mean like decades, you know?
Yeah.
Like you've been doing this since before I knew
that
you.
long?
That was like 10 years ago almost, you know?
Jesus Christ. Time flies, man.
And we're still figuring out ways to pinch pennies over here, figure out how to get by. It's date night tonight, and I was going to pull out one of my like inexpensive dates because I'm going on a date. One of my go-tos, which is like a good thing to do, and it's inexpensive, is to take a lady for a date for Chinese food on the beach, right? Okay. So, I get a big old blanket. I got the old school wooden basket, and I pulled the Chinese food out with the chopsticks. Got to make sure you have fortune cookies. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when you get the end.
You're a romantic, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. And I'm full of shit, too, Josh.
I should have fucking known. I should have known.
This is my move. So we'll have a thing. And the thing is, you got to order like beach friendly, right? You got to order like lo mein and chow mein. You don't want to do too much rice because you're using chopsticks and, your date can be a little embarrassed if they don't use them well. Like bigger things to grab, like, Mongolian beef or barbecue rib tips, the things that you got to order right from the Chinese menu. And then you do it well. And then after when you have your conversation, you're eating, you go for your fortune cookie and you crack it and you read it. And then you look up and she's like, what does it say? And you go in and you give a kiss and it says, give this woman a kiss right now next to you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that was a good line.
You could probably find fortune cookies on like Amazon or Etsy that people make specifically with like extra romantic fortunes that you could use, like bring your own fortune cookies.
Could be a new business idea.
Yeah.
Chinese food on the beach, baby. Get those fortune cookies. Andrew's going to find the website that says the good things that, help you out. You could probably put your own messages in them.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny.
By the way, each day we're growing our show little by little drops in the buckets. I want to read really quickly. This is Love Letters to the World. Unfortunately, I lost my friend Sandra Olez. She was called The Alchemist Dream on Substack. She was a really good friend of mine. We actually met on Tinder, and we went on a Tinder date, and we just became friends. It was one of those things. Unfortunately for me, well, I don't want to say unfortunately because we were friends, but she said I looked more like in my pictures, I looked more rockabilly than hip hop. But when we showed up for a date, I was more hip hop than rockabilly. And she dates more rockabilly than not hip hop. So I was like, whatever, dude, don't hate me because I'm hip hop. Nah, she suspected the Italian New York thing, but then she was like, yeah, nah, So
a little bit more
and I was like, what picture do I look rockabilly in? I removed that picture. I said, let me get rid of that picture. But this was her book. We lost her about less than a month ago. And it was just a crazy story. I want to thank Gabrielle Freedom, co-producer in the chat, as well as Fred Edward. But Gabrielle and I were talking the other day, too, about certain things about health and whatnot, and we've talked a little bit about healthcare on the show. It was just a fucking crazy situation trying to deal with it. but she's no longer with us. But she left this book, and I just want to read a quick one. There's a bunch of little sayings. This one says, got to take off my glasses. These are not prescription, no. You are a guest. Leave this earth a little more beautiful, a little more human, a little more lovable, and a little bit more fragrant for those unknown guests who will be following you.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss, but that is absolutely beautiful. And her leaving something like that behind, I think, is a real treasure. Because that's super true.
You know what? I got a book of these, and I'm going to read these and stuff. And it was, she had a saying on her microphone. I helped her get a microphone set up too, as well, because she wanted to do a few shows here and there. And she plugged me into a lot of friends in California. They were mostly conservative. She was kind of like a conspiracy theory leaning right conservative. But you know this, Andrew. Most of the people of the conspiracy theory world lean to the conservative side. That's why I kind of fell in love with Andrew and I can never quit you. It's because he's more leaning left. Like he's like a green kind of type of guy. But
I was part of the green libertarian circuit where it was socialist government policies, but libertarian social policies, I guess.
Yeah. Economic policies, not libertarian though, for me either though. Are you there on the economic policies with the libertarians or no?
I mean, kind of I think school lunches could be better if people that could afford to pay for them paid for them. But if you say, hey, I don't think school lunch should be free, then people get really upset. You know what I mean? So it's this weird, I think that everything would be better without government, but there's situations where having no profit motive should be better, but that's not how our government functions.
That's our government. That's our government. School lunches in Nicaragua are probably some of the best fucking school lunches you can have. If you have a government that cares and you have a system, an election system where you can fire people properly, you can do some good things together. You know what I'm saying? And what I think we should happen is that kids should be more involved with the cooking. They should rotate. It should be part of their classes where they go for a couple hours every day. You know what I'm saying? Rotate into the kitchen little by little, each grade doing little things. And if the money's provided for them to do those things and to learn, because that's the thing, we don't teach. There's no home ec in schools anymore. That's by design, right? That's why your goddamn app with your Uber Eats and these kids can't do anything anymore. They're not taught to do anything anymore as far as home ec and what's the other one when you go mechanics class?
Yeah, wood shop and stuff.
None of that. It's not in schools anymore, Andrew.
Oh, I remember. Our school district did this whole big revamp where we made all of the elementary schools and junior highs into campuses, and then got rid of a bunch of just old buildings in the district or leased them out to other private schools to use. And they didn't even put libraries in the new schools. We have 5 new schools in our district that do not have libraries. And once a week, the bookmobile shows up. And to top it off, right? So I live right down from the old high school campus from the 90s that they turned into a kindergarten village, a kindergarten center and preschool center. And when they tore down that building, they didn't take the old books out of the library, but they didn't put any libraries into the new schools. So that, to me, I was just this is fucking nuts.
Well, I'm thinking about it. Libraries nowadays, who buys books, who rents books, everything's on their phone, everything's on your laptop. And I guess that's the way they're thinking around it. You know what I'm saying?
So what has to happen, because people like us, we're set in our ways, right? We're older folks at this point. We have a way of doing things. But for people like us that have kids, I think it's important to teach them how to use analog software and how to use books. Me and my daughter were sitting down to do a school project. She's 11. And we were at the library just because we were doing tutoring with my other daughter. And so we popped open a dictionary. And I was showing her how to use a dictionary and where the words are located and all those things. And they literally don't have dictionaries in schools nowadays. No. Where if you want to look up a word, you just ask Sergeant Major Google and he'll tell you the answer.
They teach them enough to pass the fucking stupid test. That's it.
Yeah.
And they don't retain any of it.
Well, that's where
my kid just graduated. high school, and she didn't retain shit, dude. Straight up.
Well, that's the thing. The family unit is supposed to really pick up a lot of those ends, right, where the school leaves off. Individual responsibility. You be a great parent for your kid, but that's why
it'd be a lot easier to be a great parent if you didn't have to have like 3 fucking jobs to feed.
That's what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to. That's why the whole economic situation is also by design. It's to break the family unit. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to make sure that the state wants to raise your kids. And this is lefties telling you this stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't like Alex Jones conservatives. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I don't want to say old school lefties because I know we don't, necessarily play into the what I call the synthetic left nowadays. But, we had this discussion the other day too, Andrew, and you know this because you've gotten out in the streets before. It was the woke lefties that got in the street for the people of Gaza, that got into the street for the people of the immigrants in Minnesota, the anti-ICE protest, which, by the way, was all about Palantir getting all your fucking data and shit like that. They used the same software they used in Gaza, they used in Minnesota to geofence the whole fucking area. So if you walk by an ICE agent, immigrant or not, they got everything, Yep.
So, and that's why they make the topic so divisive, right? Is because you don't get to have that conversation about Palantir taking all of this information and accumulating all of this and building a database on every American because it's ICE good or ICE bad. And so it's by design, which ICE is bad. Like it's literally the Gestapo, but it's
your papers
is that they move all of these issues so far away from what the actual problem is. You know what I mean? Like, fighting for immigration is important, but at the same time, fighting against Palantir is important. And the people who support ICE would also be against Palantir. And so that's how they kind of, amalgamize issues to make people support things that they otherwise wouldn't want to do.
Yeah. Amalgamize. That's a great word. But by the way, let me hit this real quick.
I made Gestapo tactics.
What'd you say, Alan?
I made Gestapo tactics.
Gestapo tactics. You're true. That's the thing too. There is no gray areas. It's always black and white, right? You're either fighting against the other person or agreeing with them. You're either being a tribalist in one way or another. I always tell people, when I first meet them, we talk at gatherings. I'm like, yeah. So, you supported the anti-ICE protest in Minnesota? I'm like, yes, I did. I also supported the Stop the Steal protesters on January 6th. I was actually there with some friends. We were there together that weekend beforehand. We were forced to vote, you know what I'm saying, which was at mostly where the offices of Congress were, where, a bunch of people joined us. And it's kind of funny because I know you guys are not for like a universal healthcare system, right? It's like, well, you might be. We'll get your opinions on that. And I'll give you my opinions because my opinions have kind of gone like this. And I'm at a certain point.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm at with it too.
Yeah, I'm at a certain point. Then we went over to the Julian Assange protest, which you guys were doing over at the British Embassy, right? Because they refused to hand him over. And then a couple of days later, the Stop the Steal rally, in which I was trying to get on the stage to speak.
Yeah, no, that was literally January 4th, January 5th. And then we went together to January 6th. Not us in the same car, but
I think it was January 3rd, January 4th. We had one night off because the night before we all went.
That's right. We had that Airbnb that we posted. Yeah.
January 3rd, January 4th. And then January 5th, we went out, me, Jason Burmis, Johnny Buttons, a couple other people. Stevie was with us. You were with us. It was all right. Remember, we all went out together the night before. When the Antifa people were on one side, and then the cops were between them. And
I still have all those old videos too, stashed away offline.
Did you download them all something? Because my phone got wiped out from the back end.
I can send you the footage that I have from then. Yeah,
that would be fun. What really sucks is that a lot of my footage got wiped out on the back end. Every time we were trying to stream live, we couldn't go live because it was getting jammed. It was like Spaceballs. The signal has been jammed. Who would give me the raspberry? One of the great movies. Let's talk about healthcare. And we want you all to call on in 561-247-2721. 561-247-2721. Later on, I'll be doing the Truth Wire around 12:30-ish with Fiorella Isabel. We got a good folder today. We're going to be talking about Candace Owens, Marco Rubio, communism and capitalism, because we believe that what the elites are trying to do right now is very interesting. And I've always looked at the criticism towards the Bolshevik Revolution. Hold on a second. I mean, you got Candace Owens in Russia whitewashing the sins of the Tsar, Nicholas the Tsar, saying this is where the Satanists, what they did to the Romanov family. I'm like, they named the freaking event Bloody Sunday after this dude, and there's so many famines, and this guy entered his people into so many fucking wars. It was a peasant uprising. I believe they never want you to think that there's a class revolution, so they demonize the Bolshevik Revolution. We'll be talking about Trump's fake little altercation with Netanyahu. They're fighting again. No, they're not fighting. He's not going to cut off the arms to Israel. Let him cut it off for 1 month and see what happens. And we'll be talking about the Albanian Epstein Island 2.0 that's going on as well. That's going to be today on the Truth Wire. So maybe any of those topics you want to hit. Andrew, you want to talk about healthcare? We could do that, because
we can start with healthcare, or talk about the, I don't want to call them the alt-right, because I feel like that's not even a thing anymore, but like the
new right
wing, in the right-wing alternative mainstream media's new obsession with Christianity.
They've always had an obsession with Christianity.
Yeah. Well, it's been revitalized, I think, because you have people like Tucker Carlson and Candace, even all the way to like Russell Brand being like, I'm Christian now, I wasn't before, but like, believe me, this is totally not a paid position to try to whip up fervor and hate. You know what I mean?
I have charges against me.
Because unlike the Candace Owens trying to whitewash these, like, I don't know, Victorian era political figures, there is no good one. None of them. Like, not a single person in political power back then or now cares about anything except political power. And I think that's the whole point of the conversation, that they try to like obscure, and every culture tries to take previous horrible people and turn them into like icons for the day. So I think that what she's doing is like normal for people that are stupid, I guess. Like,
well, she's also trying to sell the status quo.
Yeah, she's basically trying to trick people into becoming tribal while saying tribalism is bad, and then makes up historical examples of, well, here's this person in power that people didn't like, but now I'm going to tell you a reason why you should.
Well, let's dive further into this, because I kind of agree to disagree with you a little bit right now, and the way people are kind of looking at Iran, for instance. Let's take a look at that. Because I guess getting outside the United States, understanding that governments do have to exist, and I don't mean to bash your position.
Yeah, no,
we do. I don't mean to bash your position. We'll bash it after the phone call. You're listening to Drive Time. Call on in 561-247-2721. That's 561-247. Bernie Sanders, Blackjack. Who's calling? Where you calling from?
Yo, this is Kevin from Rockaway.
Dude, I love you. I just want to say that. This is why I can never quit you.
How you doing this morning, Kevin?
Man, I was trying so hard to just like, let me lay back now. I'm trying. I want to help out with the, getting the show, rolling and stuff, and not just, jumping on the mic every 2 seconds, blah blah blah. But when you get,
we need you to hold on a second. Listen, Kevin, Kev. Yeah. We need you right now to jump on the mic as much as you can. The other day when you text me and you're like, hey, I'm going to let some people have the mic and I'm just going to support the show, whatnot. I wanted to text you back like, please call in, Kevin. I love your calls. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to be a dick because I didn't want to, like, he's got, his kids he's got to take to school and this is his rest time. And here I am. I'm nudging the guy like, hey, man, could you call in, do double duty for me? So please call in as much as possible. Don't ever say that you got to take a break. I love you. We love you. Your calls are amazing. We disagree sometimes too, so it's kind of fun. But come on and jump on in and let's get this party started. You don't have to. You can sleep when you're dead.
That's how we learn things, right? We learn from listening to each other, And one thing I noticed is, listen, I talk about, say, like anecdotally. I'm not talking about, any epistemology or any kind of, I'm really talking anecdotally. When you talk about you, I learn about me, but when you talk about me, I get a resentment, and vice versa, right? It's like we learn about each other from talking about our own experiences, and I marched for a long time, I'm like around, we're close in age, and there were a lot of things, especially the Iraq War and stuff that, I burned a lot of shoe leather on, but the biggest one, because I was locked up behind it and stuff, was universal health care. Yeah. And I'm one thing I'm having trouble with is understanding, and I'm hoping that you and your guests can maybe enlighten me a little bit, is now, in the United States, by the way, according to Chomsky, who was, like the first guy who, like, I really was like, oh wow, this guy's saying something different. Why isn't he on TV all the time? You know what I mean? And I was like, well, listen to what he's saying, and then you know why. But libertarianism, liberalism, etc. They have different meanings in different places. Like, in Europe, a libertarian is or liberal is a completely different. It's a completely different meaning. But I'm talking about American libertarianism. Like, from my point of view, when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, bro, anything that came out of the Hudson River, if you were fishing, you were throwing that back. You would throw. It was disgusting. Okay, and then the EPA really started working very hard. And I live in Rockaway Beach, and I'm on the 7th floor of a building, and I see dolphins all the time. I see whales breaching. I've seen turtles, seals. The only time when I was growing up you'd see those kind of things on the beach, they were dead, because there was no regulations, and to me that's like kind of the libertarian ethos, right? Like, oh, get the government out of your lives, get the government out of your lives. And it's like, yeah, then you won't have the company's just going to start dumping into the rivers again and stuff like that. And I would really like to hear why you guys, what are your problems with universal health care?
Well, can I just say right off the bat that I am not, when it comes to I call myself a leftist libertarian, right? But there's a lot of things I don't agree with the Libertarian Party. One of those is like their anti-regulation kind of mentality. Right. Like, if you don't regulate anything, everything will just magically fall into its place in a way. Libertarians don't want to remove anything that's done in a positive way. They want to stop the monster from Jekyll Island, right? That's the main thing. So they don't want over-regulation of things, because they look at over-regulation as a way of pushing out the small guy and creating monopolies with their big guys. You know what I'm saying? You regulate out the small guy, you give him so much red tape that therefore the big guy can come in, and the capitalist class, the bourgeoisie class, the corporatist class, and they can pay off, the guy who set the regulations for him. That's their mentality, but there are holes in it right now. Universal health care, and this is going to be interesting. The reason why I'm talking now is because I'm going to fill up a little coffee in a second, and Andrew's going to have a lot to say because he's dealing with the system on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? He has children. You have children too, right, Kev?
Correct.
All right. So I'm sorry if I exposed that. Maybe I shouldn't expose that stuff, but I want to talk freely, but I want to be able to. And by the way, it reminds me that we were talking, Gabrielle and I, about maybe starting a WhatsApp group for people who call in, because in the WhatsApp group it can hide your number. And I'm thinking, I want to keep people's privacy okay, right? But I still want to be able to open up the doors to great conversation. And I approach the show, let's just shoot the shit and talk and let it loose. So I do apologize if I say too much out there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not trying to expose anything, and I'm trying to keep your privacy. But going back to healthcare, I'm at a point right now that, and I understand we have a sick care system, right? meaning that we're really not taking care of our health. And a lot of our healthcare system would be about what we put in our bodies as far as food and clean food that's not so much processed. So that's the front end of the situation. We're so unhealthy. We're a country where, we're leading in heart diseases around the world because we don't put good things in our body, and we've been fucking that up. So that is part of the healthcare system. But the sick care system we have, it only deals with the symptoms. It doesn't deal with the actual causes. And I have an issue with that. And during COVID, I was so fucking distraught that I was like, I don't want a healthcare system if this is going to be like this, where the government could say, if you want to get your healthcare, if you want to get your insulin that you need, if you want to get your pills that you need, you have to take this shot too as well. You have to participate in what they're saying. That is a big problem, right? However, I'm at a point right now that I will take a broken sick care system because I know there are so many people that depend on it, that need that insulin, that need certain things, that they can't get it if they don't have that system. So I'm kind of at a point. Listen, I believe that healthcare is a human right. I really do. But it's got to be done right. There's not one bill out there, Kev, that is pushing where you can opt out of Western medicine and use your bucks for Chinese medicine, for functional medicine, none of those medicines. So my issue with healthcare right now in America is that it's not a proper system. It's a sick care system, and I don't want to be just kind of just chained to that system. I want a healthcare system, and that's not existing right now. So once again, it's multifaceted, and that's my point. But I do feel that healthcare is a human right. I really do. And as a collectivist, once again, if we had a fair voting system where you can hire the right people, you can fire the wrong people, and you can get the right people in there, and we could build a healthcare system that was really worthy. And you see it in a lot of other countries. I'm all for that instead of spending money on wars and all this other bullshit. So that's just about what I got. Do you want to make a comment before Andrew jumps in, or why don't you make a comment and let Andrew go?
A very, very, very quick one.
Was my answer sufficient, by the way? Is it understandable?
It's understandable to a point, and I'll tell you why, and very quickly. Okay, one of the things that Lenin said, V.I. Lenin, not John Lennon, who was also...
I know who you meant.
A very serious and, not stupid man at all, like Lenin, and... he said a million great things, but one of the things he said was, after the revolution and they got attacked by everybody, including the United States, like, Churchill said, we have to strangle this in its cradle. What they were calling, a Marxian kind of based economy, but there was a lot of small businesses going on. There were a lot of people, they were selling blue jeans or, records from the West and, things like that on the black market. And he said, oh, those don't matter. He's like, look, 10,000 small businesses don't change anything, but one monopoly can bring the whole damn thing down. And that's what he was talking about, and that's what we have with big pharma and with big medicine. And you call it a sick care. I don't even call it that. I call them healthcare vendors. They're vendors. Those big buildings that say Universal Health and whatever. Look, they're not filled with doctors trying to figure out how to cure diseases. They're filled with bureaucrats trying to figure out how not to pay your claim.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last thing I would say is what the Canadian single payer system, which is basically Medicare for all. This is before computers, man. The original document that started that was 10 pages long. It's 10 pages long. Now everything we make has to be 3,550 pages, which nobody can read unless you're a lawyer, because it's filled with all these caveats, because you turn on the TV and it's, have you been injured in a, like the litigious society? That's kind of jumping to a whole other area. But yeah, that's all. I would love to hear what your guest has to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like with me personally, I don't have healthcare. I haven't had healthcare in, I don't know, probably like 5 years now. My kids are covered through the state. They're on my ex-wife's plan, I think. And so the healthcare system works for certain people, and certain people have different, I don't know, outcomes, like legitimately, to where if you are someone who, largely, if you are someone with a kid or a kid yourself, you'll probably have healthcare in the United States, right? But if you're someone who is outside of that infantile bracket and you don't have a job that provides health insurance, you don't get it for the most part, unless you're under a certain income bracket. But the problem becomes they have these brackets of people that rely on government health insurance that if they make so much more money or work for an employer that charges more for health insurance, they can't get it through the state or through the employer because they can't afford it through the employer, but they'll make too much or be in a situation where the employer's health insurance, because it's offered in such a way, disqualifies them from receiving other government benefits. So I think that system, the way that it's built now, like, is just fucked. In my personal experience dealing with my daughter's health and her situation being as like extreme and fringe that it is, I think the best way is nonprofit health insurance. We've worked with, we work primarily. What?
Go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry, my bad.
No, I was going to say we work with nonprofit health insurance through like the Children's Miracle Network. But there's a lot of other like children's hospitals and research institutes that provide either free or like no cost or low cost healthcare, right? Like the Children's Network, if for somehow you are a child that doesn't have health insurance in the United States, which there are still people who have kids that don't. The Children's Network will literally cover 99.9% of medical expenses. And so you pay, like you could walk in there and needing everything my daughter needed, even if we were completely uninsured, she would get that same care with me paying, I don't know, $100 maybe or less for an MRI that I wouldn't even have to pay up front, that it would just be owed to the hospital at some point. So after working, I don't know, like as an adult, like just with my personal experiences and then working with her doctors and everything, I think nonprofit healthcare for the institution, like the hospital itself or the doctor's office themselves, I think that's the most important, right? Like I don't want to get too personal with it, but we have a horror story that we're just finished up with after over a year because we went and got a second opinion at Cleveland Clinic for her condition. And it turned into this nightmare scenario that we're like just now getting out of 2 radiation treatments and a brain surgery later. Not because of Cleveland Clinic, but that's just what's happened in the time of dealing with the problems that they caused additionally for my kid. And Cleveland Clinic, or I don't want to just single them out, but they're the ones that have like the most hatred in my heart. But for-profit health hospitals have people who have meetings that say, hey, we need to make this, your department has this much money that they need to make. And then when someone comes in there with anything, that is the front of the doctor's mind is, hey, like, yeah, I got to take care of this person, but we still have to make this much money to appease shareholders and CEOs and board members. So I think like it doesn't really address universal healthcare as a whole, but I think the start of the process is to remove all high-end profit incentive from the actual institutional level, because then healthcare and all of that can be changed way more easily when the actual providers of it are making enough money to support themselves and the institution, but aren't making money that goes to shareholders.
How does the state play in that role?
So I think that has to be one of the regulations is like, sorry, Cleveland Clinic, you can't exist the way you do now. Like you can be this big and you can have all this, but you can't be privately traded or publicly traded. Like you can't have a ultimate motivation of profit as the provider of the service. And then I think once people see the difference there, because
Yeah.
like that just completely changed the way, like after going through everything with my daughter of how I think about health insurance and all of that, is because we have some infantile systems in our country right now that are amazing. It's literally like the thing everyone's arguing for, from all sides. It's a private institution, but it still provides services free of charge if necessary for anything, including like childhood cancer treatments and stuff like that. So I think making Cleveland Clinic more like the Children's Miracle Network and the way that they actually make money would go a long way. And then people would be able to say, like, well, why don't our health insurance providers do the same thing? Because I don't think there's a non-profit health insurance provider anywhere in the country.
But telling them they can't publicly trade, that sounds a little bit like socialism to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say the exact. I mean, if you're saying that it's they're all basically 501c3, or that whatever their
whatever we would need to make for it. Yeah.
I would, you said a lot there, and it's a lot to chew on. I will say this: before my daughter was born, I was like a bohemian, man. I was a bartender. I was teaching surfing. I was on TV as an actor, blah blah blah, this and that. I did everything. I roofed in the middle of July. I would do whatever it was where I can make cash. My wife had health insurance through her job, and it was just the two of us. And our premium was $650 a month. Now this is 20 years ago. We've been married 19 years, so this is almost 20 years ago. I got on hers. The day I took a job with the Department of Corrections, which is a city job, just like the New York Fire Department, just like the New York Police Department, just like the New York Sanitation Department. The day I took that job, all those things went to zero. And my thank God my daughter was born. I don't think we paid $300 or something, and she was born in New York Presbyterian Hospital. And when I've been injured on the job many times, and I've had to have medications. The copay was $5. Now that I'm retired, it's $6. And here's the kicker, and it's kind of the what Marx would call the internal contradictions, right? Is that all these guys on socialist jobs, like the fire department, like the police department, like the correction officers, like the sanitation department. At one time, if you look back, I mean, it's not a great movie, but if you look at like Gangs of New York or something, before they it was a civil service. You had to pay for that, and you would put, and that sounds to me very libertarian. Like you would put, they had a badge that you would put on the outside of your building saying, "We have paid for service from this local fire department," and they were all, they were basically volunteers who lived off, donations and stuff like that. But if the building next door didn't have a stamp on it, they would just ignore it. They'd let it burn. They would, as a matter of fact, they would just let the people loot it and burn it. So it's really funny because a lot of people that I work with, or I worked in law enforcement with and everything, and they're all like, "Oh, these guys are socialists and this and that." And I'm like, "Bro, you realize you're on a socialist job, right? Like you don't produce anything. We're not building Ford cars. We're not, we're not making furniture. Like, we're living off the government teeth. You know what I mean? Like, but it's a necessary thing, and so is healthcare, and that's just the way that I feel about it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and like I said, even though the system isn't good, I feel that even just the shitty system right now is better than nothing. Look, we're one species on one planet. We're going to have to find some ways to play nicely in this sandbox together. I believe in some forms of collectivism, but I understand where the libertarians are coming from. It's when the state overreaches. And, man, does it been over fucking reaching right now. this, private company state relationship together, right? Public-private relationship. It's pretty fucking scary right now. You know what I'm saying? But seeing all these people, the whole Candace Owens thing, right? It's like communism bad. They're trying to sell you the status quo. That's why the numbers from Stalin are so inflated, because they want to show you, the United States of America dropped a couple bombs on some innocent civilians in Japan and killed some innocent people. But look how many people Stalin killed. Wouldn't you rather come with us than them? I mean, that's what this is all about. They're literally repeating CIA propaganda.
Well,
it is total propaganda, because for some reason, in this country, we're the most propagandized country in the world, maybe next to North Korea. The only difference is North Koreans know that they're being propagandized, and we think, because we have an open internet, that we know everything, and in fact, we're way worse off because we believe that stuff. Now, they always seem to be obsessed with these body counts. Well, read King Leopold's ghost and what he did in the Congo. Just look at the wars of imperialism in Europe that were 100% about. And now when people say, how many people have the capitalists killed? How many people under FDR died? I'm sorry, it was Truman by that time, dropping bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. How many people died in Dresden under FDR? How many people died under Eisenhower? Look, it's not even a comparison. And also, they were also forced into these because immediately, as soon as they started to put these things together, they were attacked or sanctioned from every end. And it wasn't, Truman said about Stalin, we can work with him. He's all right. He never thought he'd be invading anyone, but he was just like, no, he's doing what he needs to do. It's not and this is my understanding of it. And it's not just my understanding of it. It's documented, okay? From some of the people from the Kennedy administration who wrote op-eds in the Times and back in the days. And what they were saying about Fidel Castro and Stalin and stuff. And they said, I want to remind my friend that, because I think it was Philip Eisenstadt and Schlesinger who were having this kind of, conversation over op-eds. And what they said, was, because, he's a troublemaker, and he's doing this and that, and he's horrible to his own people, as if Batista wasn't, and as if the Tsar of Russia wasn't, when most of the country was completely illiterate. It wasn't that. He said, I believe it was Eisenstadt who corrected Schlesinger and said, "No, my friend, you've got it wrong. It wasn't because of those things that the United States were against people like maybe at that time Khrushchev and Castro. It was because they were a model of modernization within a single generation. Mm-hmm. They went from the third world, not to the first world, but to the second world. You had 70% illiteracy rates and like sky high child mortality rates, etc. And within a single generation, they were a model for a lot of countries that are in the third world, and were saying, hey, if what actually the word he said was in Castro about Castro was, it was the example of taking matters into your own hands that we had to put a stop to. And that's what I have to say about that, really.
While you're here, and you're making a lot of sense, and I was going to give, before you called in, I was about to give Andrew a little bit of pushback, right? Because I don't want to say Andrew's completely guilty of this, but there are some people out there, some friends of mine. I would say Ryan Christian, The Last American Vagabond, Derek Bros. I'm close with those guys. I love those guys. But these are arguments I would have with Steve from the morning show beforehand, too, as well. The all governments are bad argument doesn't hold complete weight for me, if that makes any sense. Yeah, all governments are bad, but there's levels of bad, right? There's going to be issues with every single government. There's never going to be a government out there that's never going to have any issues. But when you talk about like the Bolshevik Revolution, you talk about the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, and you talk about the Cuban Revolution. These are countries, along with their people joining their sides. Hugo Chavez, the Chavistas in Venezuela, that broke away from the empire because they didn't want to be controlled, right? And this kind of argument that all governments are bad, yeah, but the level of badness, you can't begin to tell me that the American empire isn't the main cause, along with the Zionists, who are their culprits, their accomplices, that are on another level of fucking bad out there. I don't have a Stalin shirt or a Hugo Chavez shirt. I'm not an ideologue, but I can recognize that these people coming together to fight off the empire is sometimes a necessary thing to do, and to criticize them of sorts, right? Like, clean your own fucking house. They're trying to make it like it's this equivalent level of governments being bad. No, the United States fucking government and imperialist government is a fucking next level of psycho bad. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, I think the amount of evil a government can commit is relative to the amount of power it controls, and that's over its own civilians or over other populations. And any system, like here in the United States, we've taken over the world. Like, there's pockets of resistance, there are like anti-hegemons, but for the large part, no one can argue that the US doesn't dominate the global scale. And that creates infinitely more space for evil to exist than a group of people fighting to liberate their people from it. And when I say like all governments are evil, I refer more to the people who seek power, not the people that are trying to create alternative systems. So like, you have people that start out, like, you can even, like, for the United States as an example, we started out as a very ideological country where we believed in freedom in certain capacities, and even forming a federal government was almost impossible and unlikely because of that level of freedom that each state and person in those assemblies wanted to have over their life. But the idea of breaking from the hegemon at the time, Great Britain, was able to pull people together for those ideas of freedom, right? And like this anti-imperial slant that the United States was founded on. And then fast forward 250 years, we are now the empire that people will celebrate breaking from. And those governments will be able to write stories of their founding or of their victories over the evil US empire, like how we wrote our founding and victory over the evil British Empire. And not that like one, like the Sandinista government itself is going to, take over the whole world and ruin everything like the US has, or what have you, for whoever is, the next global power. But you can't be a global power without being evil. Like, you can't possess high levels of political authority over the world without being willing and able and capable and actively doing terrible things.
Okay, listen. But what it started out as and what it becomes are two different things. Let's concentrate on the Bolshevik Revolution, right? Because that's where my biggest complaint is right now. Because I do believe that the Bolshevik Revolution, and I know Kev has a lot of knowledge about this, was a class struggle, a peasant revolution where they were sick and tired of the monarchy, right? And they had to take power, and they had to get rid of the monarch, and they did what they had to do. I don't believe that the Bolsheviks were out there just seeking power. I think they were out there seeking some form of separation from the monarch. They wanted to release their chains. They wanted some freedom for themselves. Now, that might have turned into something else. Stalin might have evolved into something else. But also the reason too, as well, the way they kind of demonized people was Stalin. If you just do a little fucking homework, right?
Right.
When Napoleon entered into Moscow, the people of Moscow burnt down their city rather than be fucking slaves to Napoleon's fucking empire.
Mhm.
When Hitler came to town, so many people died in Stalingrad. It was just beyond fucking these people would rather die than be slaves to an opposing force coming into them. They're not just going to follow Stalin because he had a hand and heavy fist. The Bolsheviks followed Stalin for a certain reason, because he got shit done, right? I mean,
Well, and
and that
they
is
believe.
completely rewritten.
They
And
ripped
once
it.
again,
They ripped the
Stalin's
guts out,
actions are a reaction to the United States fucking empire. So how do you cast? And I'm not saying you have to be a Stalinist and be like, but you have to understand the climate we're in, and you shouldn't be casting stones at fucking Stalin, especially when your country is going around bombing innocent civilians, killing people all around the globe. Clean your own house fucking first. And I'm talking to the citizenry that fucking goes along with these stories to act like it's okay for American empire because it's better than what Stalin has. Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, American exceptionalism. Yeah, I would just say that the basic principle that I think it's just my opinion, okay? I think that well, not just my opinion, but is the theory or the law of reciprocity, okay? So yes. If you say Stalin killed 100 million of his own people and Mao killed 200 of his own million people, etc., everybody just nods their head. Now, when you say that the United States did the same thing, you better be able to defend it. You better be able to fight. Now, because when you talk about the Bolsheviks, for instance, okay, what they were looking for is exactly what we are looking for now, is an opportunity to make a difference, because we're under a two-party duopoly and we are screwed. And I mean, it was a different set of circumstances, okay, with the Tsar and then the following government, the Duma afterwards. I'm a little foggy on it at the moment. But anybody's read, 10 Days That Shook the World, and the writings of Lenin and stuff like that will understand. The Bolsheviks were just looking for the same way everything is getting stretched. Like you said something interesting before. You said, I don't wear a Chavez T-shirt. I don't wear a Stalin T-shirt. Of course you don't. Look, but you see a lot of people, or there was a time when Che Guevara, you couldn't. Now he'd be rolling in his grave because they turned him into a capitalist icon. They were selling merchandise with his picture on.
Yeah. You talking about Che?
Capitalism will co-opt anything that will make them a buck. And it's the same way that when Mao said, the last capitalist will sell us the rope that we are going to hang them with. And we're actually seeing that play out even after all these years of Mao being gone.
One of the bigger problems right now is that people argue capitalism versus communism and things like that, when it's actually like theological technocracy versus everyone else, right? So like there are, like here in Ohio, Whitney Webb's article, the TechNate Ohio, I think lays it out absolutely brilliantly, to where we don't have government in the same way. We don't have markets in the same. We don't have any of these things that we, as people who would argue capitalism and communism, need to even have that argument. Right now, we have like basically total digital hegemonic control and a takeover by a technocratic class that literally wants to just divide the world into essentially super countries that they can then allocate and distribute resources as they find most important for whatever their endeavor is outside of any popular opinion. So it's like the worst of every idea essentially is culminating in technocracy right now, and people are too busy. Like there's all these like anti-capitalist things, but I see almost no anti-technocrat thing, right? Like James Corbett's done a great job of actually like bringing it forward in the recent weeks of fighting against actual like transhumanism and the data centers and the idea of the
Can I jump in and just say though the technocracy is connected to the capitalism, right? They want to commodify every single part of Mother Nature out there, and capitalism is the arm of the technocracy and how they're going to make it work.
Well, they don't. I wouldn't say they want to commodify it. They want to digitize it, right? So they don't want to necessarily turn everything into a commodity. They want to monitor everything digitally, and
they believe they own it. They believe that it's theirs to give out, to dole out, that class.
Right.
Listen, once Exxon figures out a way, I'm not picking on Exxon specifically.
Pick on Exxon.
You can pick on
Chevron,
Exxon.
Pick on Exxon.
Once they figure out a way to own the sun, you're going to see a lot more solar power panels. You know what I mean? And the same thing goes with technology, and the same thing now. To quote a very antithetical, he's an arch conservative, Thomas Sowell, who said, because you said earlier, Craig, that all countries, and that is true. You should never, like, that whole grass is greener thing is until you get there. You know what I mean? And you realize that there's not. It's not so much about the solutions, it's about the trade-offs, okay? So there's definitely going to be trade-offs. There's definitely going to always be people who are like, well, actually, I had it better off the other way. But most of those people are part of the Epstein class, the upper, the 0.1%, that the billionaire, the billionaire class that just want to see us all, as I always say, we'll have all that stuff back. We'll have a U.S. Steel. We'll be manufacturing again. Once the last union gets crushed and everybody's working for $15 an hour without benefits, without health care, without any anything, you're just a paid employee, or not even an employee, right? Because what does Walmart call them? They call them associates, because they don't even give them full time. And then what they tell them is, well, you actually qualify for a SNAP, or you qualify for welfare. So why don't you apply for that? Because they don't even want to. There's some people. There's a lot of people that I always say. The problem, a big problem in this country, is everybody wants to make a killing, and nobody's happy just making a living. You know what I mean? It all has to be like, no, I want that jet ski. I want that,
temporary millionaires. What's to say?
Well, that's just human nature, right? Like wanting the next thing, right? Like wanting what you can't have. And I think that's something that is the reason why government needs to be limited in an extreme way, right? Because at the end of the day, every person just wants the thing they can't have. There are a lot of exceptions, but you won't find them in Washington or Columbus, Ohio, or anything. So when you give people,
you won't find them. You won't find them in Washington. I think you'll find them in. I think you'll find them in the people in West Virginia, though, and stuff. Now, That's not to say. I always say, like, when I'm in the subway or something, and I see one of these Peruvian, like, real Indio, like, mountain bands, they're wearing the ponchos, and they're playing those exotic instruments, and they're playing the pan flute and everything like that. And I'm looking at them and I'm going, God, like, I wish life was as simple as that. Like, like for me, like I wish, like, that's how I would make my daily bread, it's just by, like, making somebody smile and make somebody, like, wait for the train to go on my rat race a little bit easier. But you know what the other side of it is? Those people who are playing those instruments are looking at your iPhone, and they're looking at your, your technology, and saying, God, if I can only get my hands on that, my life would be so much different. The only thing I would argue, and it's not really an argument, but we also have the myth of this like rugged individualism mentality of the United States, which there is definitely, the alpha kind of. There is a strain of that for sure, no doubt about it. But if we look at our ancestors, and I'm not talking about our ancestors in the last 100 years. Well, in a way, maybe I am, because my family came from big families, and we put food on the table, we shared equally, and everybody started working when they were 12 and 13 and giving into the house and everything. But the oldest societies and the uncontacted tribes or the Native Americans, really, it wasn't about me, I want this. It was about cooperation. And it was about like, hey, listen, if we're going to eat this winter, we got to get these buffalo, and I can't do it alone. You know what I mean? Like, we have to pull together. And I feel like I've taken up way too much time. It's been a pleasure talking to both of you guys.
You've done your duty, my friend. Go get your rest. This is supposed to be his rest time, and he's here working with us and stuff. And
that's a great combo.
You got any final comments for Kev, since you're the guest and I speak to him like 6 times a week?
No, I just appreciate him calling in. I think he's super insightful, man. Like, thank you.
No. That's why we dubbed him the professor over there at Drive Time on Wednesdays. We do it on WBAI, but he's still the professor over here. Kev, we love you, man.
Thank you.
Do you have any advice for any inexpensive dates that still will kind of make me look good? I used to go for Chinese food on the beach, but it's not looking good for that weather over here. And last time I took a girl out for sushi, man, that hit the wallet too hard. You got any advice, bro?
Well, I'll give you advice about sushi, especially out of New York City. I mean, not to say all of them. And look, this is going to come off a little bigoted. Those aren't. That's not. My wife. I didn't share this. My wife is Japanese. I've been to Japan 12. That's how I met my wife. I was a big judo guy for many years. I met her in Japan, and I knew her over here. But sushi is a very. As far as the food goes, it's basically a holiday food. It's not something that they eat every day. Well, not where my wife is from. My wife is from where they had the Olympics in Nagano, which is in the mountains. They eat very local over there. Like, everything is very locally grown and locally. So depending on the area, they specialize. But man, I would always say, like, bro, just a good family owned Italian restaurant. Well, I mean, I don't know about bringing it to the beach. Now, we're talking about something different. But even listen, bro. I know you cook, man.
I'm not cooking on the first date. No way.
Listen, you
not on the first date. You don't get my cooking until the 3rd or 4th date, man. That's come on. You gotta earn that. You know what I'm saying?
That shit worked for me in my youth, man.
You don't have to do filet mignon, brother. A little broccoli rabe. A little sausage.
You've been married too long. You don't remember the dating scene.
Balsamic and garlic. Yeah, you got a nice
of course.
Hero.
Kev, you don't cook for the girl until the 3rd, 4th date, right? Because that's when you do it anyways. That's when you want to seal the deal. You've gone to a couple dates. Now you're at the house. Now you're cooking. And it's also too, you don't want to give it away too easy. It's got to be earned. Right? You know what I'm saying? Because there's plenty of dates when we go to the first date, I'm like, this is done. Second date, this is done. So, I don't want to cook for somebody that I haven't really connected with just yet. My cooking is for my friends and my loved ones. So I don't know about that. Business. You've been married too long. Yeah. That's it. Kev, we love you, the professor.
Right, take care.
Definitely.
And I'd like to say thank you to your guests as well. Yeah,
Andrew,
thank you so much.
Please, yes.
Andrew, thank you. And,
thank you,
and Sleepy and Gabby on the I look at the texts and everything like
Gabby's
that.
Gabby's amazing. She's amazing. Gabrielle's amazing. Yeah.
Okay, thank guys.
You got it. He's out. And Bill finally got here. Entenmann Bill is here. Chicken Parm is my number one. So I said, what's a good cheap date too? When I first said it, look what Jamie Cheese Slice, our other producer engineer that does the other shows, $1.50 hot dogs at Costco's and free samples. You're disgusting. I'm not asking you anything ever again, Jamie.
Hey,
Terrible.
I love
you.
me some hot dogs. So me
Not
and
from
Jamie
Costco.
Those are pretty good, actually.
No, they're not. Oh my God.
Have you ever had one?
Kevin just left. Of course, I've had a Costco hot dog. It was one of the most disappointing days of my life because people would talk about them, and then I went and had one. I'm like, this is what,
dude.
I've
paid $10 for like an expensive hot dog, and it tasted like shit compared.
Well, you went to the wrong place. The Home Depot, they got the Sabrett hot dogs for $4 each, right?
You're also from New York, so you're spoiled.
Well, it's not even just.
I'm telling you, dude, the hot dogs are better. It's just a fucking.
Well, they have casing dogs. You need to have a natural casing dog because it's almost like a sausage. You cook them in water. They're called dirty water dogs. A little tablespoon of vinegar in there, and you got to get a snap. When you bite into them, you need the snap. It needs to go. Hold on. Can you hear the snap? You got to get a little snap when you bite into the hot dogs. It's almost like a sausage.
Yeah, like you're eating a
Fred does them, and those are great.
But dude, for $1.50, can't beat it. Just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd offer you some advice, but I haven't dated anyone in like 10 years. So
that's the thing. I got a freaking I got a show today with everybody who's been married that doesn't even know about the dating, and nobody in the chat's helping me out. People are saying cook a chicken parm. Some people are saying take it for Costco hot dogs. You're no help today. What do I do if I need an inexpensive date because I want to go easy on the wallet? I don't want to be a big shot all the time, right?
Just go on a walk in the park. You know,
this girl
plays Pokemon Go
at night, walk in the park, 8 o'clock. We're in Florida over here. It's humid and as hot as balls out. You gotta go. You're going someplace. You gotta go. Forget about it. Go take the mosquitoes for a walk.
That's fair. That's fair.
This girl I'm going on a date with tonight. I was walking out of a restaurant and she was wearing an orange shirt, an orange dress. And it was like the day before the New York Knicks were playing. It was they played on Wednesday, so it was Tuesday I saw it. And I was walking out ready to get my Uber, and I was like, nah, I got to go talk to her. She's wearing the orange. Come on, go New York Knicks. Let's go, Pasta. You know, so I went up and I talked to her. We had a nice moment. We exchanged numbers. I texted her the next day. Now we're going on a date. She's a girl from Hungary. And I was in a place where there's usually a decent amount of Latin women. It's called Crazy Uncle Mike's, but they do Latin salsa dancing on Tuesdays. And I went there for happy hour with my friend. And I caught her on the way out, and I spoke to her. I'm glad I did. We kind of had a moment, but she's from Hungary because I tried to speak Spanish to her. I was like, "De donde eres?" She goes, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry. I heard that Eastern European accent." And I'm like, fuck. Yeah, I was like, "Where are you from?" She goes, I'm not from south of the border. I'm from Hungary." And Monica with a K. So we're going out tonight. I don't know where I'm going to take her. Hopefully she didn't find out any of this stuff and she's like watching me or stalking me right now because I didn't tell her any of the stuff I've done and stuff. I'm kind of spilling the beans. So,
well, you can't let them all know at once or they'll get freaked out, right? You can't start with like, "Hey, do you want to see some videos from January 6th?" You know?
Yeah, you got to feel that shit out.
Right.
So usually there's a lot of Latin girls I date out here when I go out on dates, and it's kind of crazy when you meet a lot of the Latin girls that are homegrown. They're like the Gusano type, like the anti-Chavista type, and they just fucking can't stand my politics. That's why I don't have a girlfriend because I just dating the wrong Latino chicks. And so,
that's fair.
You know, they're like the ones out here are just like it's everything I'm against. They're like, yeah, I love the Sandinistas. What? Check. I don't know. Maybe I'll just go for sushi. So, you know. I am crowdsourcing dating advice is right. That's why I built a community and stuff. Chinese food on the beach might not work today. Might not work. So the weather's not good. You know. Back to your discussion. Look at this, Andrew. Let me just show you this.
Okay.
Go ahead. So if you have anything to say. So this is Candace Owens. She's there in fucking Moscow. Kremlin grounds, revisiting what Satanists did to the Romanov family. The Christian world needs to awaken. First of all, that is so full of fucking shit. They weren't Satanists what they did to the Romanov family. And I'm not saying that killing him and his whole family is a thing to do, but it was a monarchy. I mean, she's whitewashing what the monarchy did. And
well, it wasn't even just a monarchy, right? So they had taken reformist steps, and then they got all walked back.
Yeah.
And that's what really triggered everything, was when they said, like, okay, you have freedom of the press, all this stuff. Like, they signed all these deals about giving people freedoms and liberties, and then when it became inconvenient, it immediately got taken away. And that's really what triggered all of it. At least from my, like,
that was one part of it. That was one part. Bloody Sunday was a priest. I forgot his name. It was a priest who led the protest. They were literally singing hymns when they were walking there, unarmed. They had a signed letter of different leaders in the different people within the community that wanted some more reforms, and he had them all gunned down, like literally fucking killed. And they were Christians, by the way, because they're making this Bolshevik revolutions all about Jews killing Christians, which is the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. Like, Lenin and Stalin are now Jewish. Stalin is fucking Jewish. And they can't get through their mindset. Well, they closed all these Christian churches and whatnot. They closed certain Christian churches because the monarchy used to use the church like they did in fucking Europe. And Nicholas had ties to Denmark. They would use the church as the oppressive arm of the state. The church would always do that. So when the Bolsheviks were fucking closing down churches, they weren't going in because it was against Christianity. They were ridding themselves of their oppressors. That's what they were doing.
Yeah, it comes
and then
down to
Stalin, 10 years after, opened up more churches than any prime minister, any president, any head of state in Russia ever. More churches were opened up under Stalin. So don't fucking sell me this bullshit, because what they're trying to sell you, because all these people, and these people are the new right. Let's just say, not the all right, the new right. I'm talking about the ones that, first off, they conflate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. I'm talking about Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Myron Gaines, Dan Bilzerian, that fucking Fed, Leandra Johnny's on that list, Lucas Gage, all those. They conflate literally anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, which is the first part, because that justifies the Zionists to go, see, there's anti-Semitism because they're going Jew this and Jew that. No, it's Zionist this, Zionist that, you asshole. But they're all pro-capitalist. They believe that communism, collectivism is the devil, right? Charlie Kirk said this shit fucking less than 2 weeks before he was killed. He said the problem was communism and wokeism and Islam. This whole group is pro-Christian, which I don't give a shit. You want to fucking, she goes, I'm not going to be apologetic. I'm pro-Christian. Why the fuck do you even got to mention that? I'm glad you're pro-Christian, Candace. Go fucking do that on your own time. But don't bring your theological bullshit to my lawmaking. We don't fucking mix government with fucking goddamn religion, because it's always going to fucking turn out to my God is better than your God. You keep that shit out of our fucking lawmaking and our fucking politics. They're also all anti-immigrant too, as well.
Don't forget the military and all these weird fucking prayer meetings and shit that Hegseth's doing. Like, I mean, it's a problem. Creepy. It's a fucking problem.
Well, so we're coming out, at least from my point of view, right? Because I'm a Christian, but I don't think that the government should enforce religion on people. Like, I don't think that, like, the government's not moral, so it has no way to have moral authority over anyone. So, like, as a starting point. But we're coming out of an era where individual people see what we went through in the COVID era and with all of the woke politics and everything as having a religion pushed on them. So for, like, the people that follow the Candace Owens and the Nick Fuenteses, they are already and have lived under another religion that was forced upon them through the state, through the institutions. So they're profiting and capitalizing on that understanding that there are things acting like religions that aren't classified as them, that are ruling the state, and trying to whip up fervor to essentially move people into deeper forms of tribalism, right? Because before, the tribalism was coming from, like, I don't know, let's just call it like the minority woke tribalism type, where it was intersectional groups coming together to say like, hey, we want to build institutional power. Here's how we're going to do it. And now you have the other side, which is, it's just the same as every political party. Like, it's just two sides of the same coin. But you have the people like Candace Owens now taking it from the other direction, where they're trying to tribalize the Christians to take over institutions, not on behalf of Christianity, but on behalf of themselves gaining political power and authority over people. And they just use this like religious context, just like it's been used throughout all of history, as a means to get people to listen to them. So like, I don't think she seriously believes that, but I think she says it in a way because she wants people to seriously believe it, if that makes sense.
I don't know. Maybe. She can also be a Fed. She was running fucking Oracle commercials on her goddamn fucking shows not too long ago before she stopped doing that. You know, her fucking husband, there's come some shady fucking connections over there too as well. I still think they just want to, I still think they're sent here to sell the status quo. That's
Do
what
you remember her Joe Rogan interview from years ago? How like she couldn't form a thought and she was just like babbly and couldn't defend a position or anything. Like, do you remember that interview? I don't remember when it was from, but I think it was like COVID or pre-COVID.
I don't remember.
So if you go back and watch that really old Candace Owens Joe Rogan, you will see that she has basically been groomed. That like they thought she was ready, so they put her on Joe Rogan, and then she did a horrible job. Like couldn't argue anything. And so they literally took her out of the spotlight forever until they like basically retrained and programmed her to then represent her. Like it's literally painful to watch that.
She wasn't ready, huh?
Yeah, it's literally as bad. Like if you remember when the one lady called Tulsi Gabbard a toady, and just like the whole rest of the interview was
very wise, dude.
Yeah,
the leader of CBS News.
She couldn't explain it then.
Yeah, it's like that level of babbly for a whole fucking like 2-hour Joe Rogan episode with Candace Owens.
I'm just very curious about why this particular group is getting so much of that, the anti-Zionism, and then they conflate the anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. There's a couple people in the chats. Good morning. What's up, Bob? You know, we have these conversations, whatnot, and I get it when people start looking, oh, look at the Talmud, how awful it is. But the Bible has a bunch of bullshit in it too, right? Like I say it all the time, like you can't live inside the fucking stomach of a whale for a couple of days. I'm sorry. There was no global flood with zookeepers that put fucking lions and tigers and bears, oh my, on a goddamn fucking boat, and they had them all behave together while there was some global flood. And no matter how hard you try to say it, snakes cannot talk. It just, you know what I'm saying? And I get the way they go, oh, the Talmud's bad, so is the Bible. This is just kind of bullshit. They're getting all the attention right now. And like I said, they are all those other things. They are anti-collectivist, pro-capitalist. They're kind of they're kind of pro-imperialist because they only oppose some wars. Nick Fuentes was bragging about fucking Nicolas Maduro. Oh, he's a dictator. We should go after them anyways. So they're not like anti-imperialist across the board. And any form of fucking collectivism they hate. So I don't know.
Nick Fuentes is born from the social movement that Jeffrey Epstein created on 4chan, right? So, and Nick Fuentes has gone as far as to say, like, he thinks Epstein's a cool guy. Like, would you go to the island and then be like, wait, are these girls 13? Like, he said shit like that, you know? So he's not the person he presents himself to be. And I don't remember who it was that I was listening to, but they basically made that form of an argument that Nick Fuentes is presenting himself to be like the fundamental American man, right? And he doesn't even want to have a wife and kids. Like the whole idea of American culture is like you build a family and build a life and, you know, leave a legacy for your children to step forward into, right? And
that's their little fairy tale fantasy bullshit that they fucking all espouse to be. But
right.
when they're
but then you have the people that are leading it, right? Like Nick Fuentes, who openly says, like, I couldn't even imagine myself dating a woman. Like, how is he the person who's supposed to be leading the cultural change about empowering families and taking care of your kids properly when he doesn't even want to have a family and kids, you know?
Fucking Jesus. Guys, if you want to call on in 561-247-2721. I just feel like bashing on people today, and it's not.
So
You're here with me today. You're part of the reason why I'm here on Friday is because you're one of the most lovable guy I know. It's supposed to be peace, love, and happiness today. Instead, you got me all fucking fired up. 561-247-2721. That's 561-247. Bernie Sanders Blackjack.
can I talk about something goofy real quick?
You can talk
Like
about
just
whatever
on like
you
a
want,
whole.
buddy.
So we're talking about the idea of like government's bad, right? And how there's levels of government and scales, and like I'll tie it back in. This is something I talked to Josh like on Twitter about in like 2 posts the other week ago. But Harry Potter, do you know much about the series?
A little bit about it. I'm gonna take myself down, but listen to you. So I'm gonna put you
Okay.
extra loud.
So-
So go ahead. Go right ahead.
I'll start with like the stupid controversy and why it makes me mad, right? So, Harry Potter is essentially a story about how easily even a supposedly good government can become corrupted, and how it's necessary for alternative systems of power to exist to correct issues and to stop people when they take power and shouldn't. And I know that sounds really, really weird because this is like a pseudo kids book.
That's true.
But really, like, if you actually look at it from like the like analytical perspective, it's literally a story of supremacists taking control of government by a small group of people manipulating the masses, right? That's like the whole story of Harry Potter. And then you have it essentially turned into right now this like stupid racism political debate, where instead of allowing a piece of literature to exist the way it does, to have people extract that meaning, right? Because like maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's not what J.K. Rowling intended when she wrote the book, and I'm just a lunatic.
Yeah.
But
by the way, this is the reason why I wanted you here on Fridays in particular, for these kind of conversations. And I'm going to clip that up because I got to go back and watch. What is fucking Harry Potter about again? Are you kidding me?
So Harry Potter is about how easily institutions that are perceived as good can become corrupted, and how it is necessary for alternative systems of power to exist outside of government to stop like supremacy and corruption from taking control, right? Because that's the whole story, is like this dude comes back and he takes control of the government, right? And 16 years ago he was here and he took control of the government then, and everything was bad. And the whole like arc of the story is that like people are building power outside of government to fight the inevitable tyranny that government brings. Even if you have a period of lull where it's seen as good, the inevitable outcome is corruption. And that's hidden like in modern culture because they made Snape black, right? And so instead all of the clips on YouTube are about how Harry Potter's racist now because he can't tell you why he doesn't like Snape, but Snape's black and his dad didn't like him and now he doesn't like him. And it perverts the entire message of, I think, what people are supposed to take away, or at least what I took away from the Harry Potter series. So like it's just something that's really irked me, and I think really relates back to what we're talking about, is that like institutions can be used for good, but can easily be taken over and used for evil. And we need alternative systems of power to challenge those when it happens.
So that justifies. Go ahead.
Isn't that the idea of a republic in general? Like the states push back when they were supposed to push back when the federal government is doing nefarious shit. They just don't do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. But it gets hidden. That message gets completely obscured by them changing the ethnicity of a character to the point that it like devastates the rest of the story. And so it just really makes
it's so dumb. Like pretty much all arguments surrounding Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling I just fucking ignore at this point because it's just noise, man. Like just noise. They don't like the chick. Okay, that's fine.
She's in trouble.
Like, don't read her books.
Always.
They do it to degrade J.K. Rowling, right? Like she's one of the leading people fighting for women's rights, and like
I've seen her say some awful shit.
I don't
particularly like her.
Deserving of criticism.
You know, she's allowed her opinion just like fucking everybody else.
Yeah. But like all of the Harry Potter video games that come out, like, and I know this is just like an obscure thing, is like completely like every major character in the modern Harry Potter video games are like, I'm an immigrant from Uganda that my mom came here to teach, so now I'm a student at your school.
It's very forced.
Like the whole Black Snape thing, I think it's like I think it's intentional to insult her because she doesn't have full control over her intellectual property.
Yeah.
You know, because she's like, I stand against, you know, DEI and all this, and then they completely rewrite her story by changing the ethnicity of a character,
which is stupid. I mean, let's be real. Most people in the time frame that movie's in, most of the people in Europe are white as hell, man. You know, she's not an American. Like,
and there's even characters in there that aren't from there. There's even like, you know, that's the part that gets me.
Yeah, that's my issue with a lot of the like movies and stuff. It's like they'll put gay, lesbian, bi, whatever in a show, and it doesn't fucking add anything to the show. It's just, hey, look, we're representing somebody, but it doesn't add anything to the story. So I'm like, why did you even do that? It's just it just doesn't
diversity, man.
Yeah,
hey, I'm all good for diversity, but like Star Trek, like I actually like some of the newer Star Treks, but some of the stuff in there, it's just like, I'm like, this is boring. Like, why are they even like this? This lends nothing to the story. Like,
right, and that's.
And I'm saying it as someone who's not fucking straight. So like, let me put that out there. I'm not just some fucking homophobe or something. Like, I just don't see it adding to the goddamn story. All this weird forced diversity they add to entertainment.
If you're gonna do it, I'm to the point that I don't even like heterosexual love stories in movies if it's not.
No, I don't either. It's boring.
What should be happening in the story, you know? So it's not just like oh, those gay people shouldn't be kissing. It's like, why the hell is this happening in the middle of this story when it makes no sense?
Exactly. It's like it's out of place. That's my problem. Like if it was integrated into a story, like, and it actually added to the story, I wouldn't give a shit. But it just seems like they're doing it just to do it, and it's weird.
And they don't go the full way with it, you know, like, you know, the Black Captain America thing. Like, what's the difference between the two? Like, one's just, I don't know. I mean, they gotta, if they're gonna do that and they're trying to make some message, at least put some like cultural ties in there to make it, you
something
know, believable.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, make it not just like a very superficial thing. If you're gonna do that, like, have it, you know, it's not representation in my eyes.
No, it's not.
No,
it's just throwing the gay people some crumbs, dude. That's fucking it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's to be divisive, right? Like, it's to make people take a side in that argument, to where you can't just have a story that people can say like, hey, we all agree on this. And that's how something gets popular, is it has that fucking horrible divisive element baked into it that makes people fight about it on social media.
Yeah.
I think they do it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sometimes it seems like whoever's in power, that's the side you get most aggravated with. Like right now, like the whole fucking Bad Bunny thing in the Super Bowl, like seeing all these conservatives getting all pissed off because he didn't sing in English. Just it's like, shut the fuck up. Who cares? We're going to have our own Super Bowl special. So you'd rather see Kid Rock with shorts on singing on stage than Bad Bunny dancing with a bunch of hot Latino women?
Poorly.
It's so bad. Bad Bunny killed it. He slayed it. He slayed it, dog.
I'm not a sports ball person.
Yeah, we let Misty do all that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not as much as I used to be. Yeah, big ups to Misty out there. You know, she's Go Liberty. That's the New York female basketball team, the WNBA team. But the Knicks right now about to win the title. Hopefully, we still got some more games to go, and I'm all in. I'm in the sports right now.
How was the last one? Did they win?
They won. They beat game one against San Antonio. That was Wednesday. Tonight is game 2. That's another thing. I'm looking for like a cheap date, an inexpensive date, and it's, you know, I tried to take her out last night or tomorrow night, and she's like, I'm free Friday, and I had to say yes, and the game's on tonight. So I don't know if she knows she's fucking with me. But that was a hard yes.
I don't know,
That
maybe it was
like
a honeypot and a little cute sundress, man. You never know. And Eastern Europeans are shady sometimes.
dude, and she's a bigger girl, right? She's tall, she's a big woman and stuff. Like, but I don't know what it is. There's sassiness when they get all like smart and like edgy. I don't know. I feel like, it's just that strong Eastern European woman that I don't know. I love it, I love it when all women get sassy. Who am I kidding? Get sassy with me, and I'm down with it and stuff like that.
Oh,
Guys,
cool.
if you want to call in, talk to Andrew, me, or Sleepy J, 561-247-2721. That's 561-247-2721. Where is Snorky? Where is Entenmann Bill? We saw Entenmann Bill. He got to the dance late, but he still got here. There it is. Honeypots rule the world. If I ruled the world. Guys, call on in. Bob, call on in. You got something to say? You want to talk about something? Call on in. We love you. We need your help. We're testing the systems. This is show 10. This is the completion of week number 2. We had a soft opening the first week. So this would be like our official first week. You know what I'm saying? By the way, somebody's saying about my date today. It's a trap. God.
I wasn't going to go that far.
Okay, so
I'm surprised at you.
True story. I'm flying back from South Florida to Vegas. Oh, we do. All right, cool. I'll save that story for another time. Caller, who are you? Where you calling from?
Come on, Entenmann Bill. Can you not know it's me?
What's going on, Entenmann Bill?
I see you have Rasputin as a co-host.
Well, I was talking shit about the Tsar, right? And he was wasn't Rasputin friends with the Tsar?
Timing,
Yeah,
man.
he was
Rasputin's
ultimately Rasputin was part of the reason why Tsar Nicholas walked back all of the freedoms of speech that he had prescribed, because he was the family's personal spiritual healer that basically alleviated the anemia that his youngest son was having. And they didn't publicly tell anyone that they had anemia, and the public thought Rasputin was a demon when he was the only doctor that could save Nicholas's son from having like major hemorrhaging events. And so the press started running slanders about Rasputin, and that is why Nicholas took away freedom of speech rights and started arresting journalists after they had given essentially their version of like the Bill of Rights to people. Or like,
he handled it wrong. They should have had press conferences and debates and let Rasputin get out there. They should have leaned into it. That's the problem.
Well, he did have like 600 women that he was like running around banging in bathhouses.
There's that.
Rasputin, that's not true. He was their friend. He was getting recipes for dishes and
Come on, he's a Russian Charlie Manson.
Was he really? Russian Charles Manson? Holy cow.
No, but basically he just told Nicholas, like Tsar Nicholas, to quit giving his kid, I think it was Advil, because they had just invented Advil as a pain medicine, and it thins your blood and makes you bleed more. So he literally just told him to stop making his blood thin, and then every time that would heal him.
That's, it makes sense. And then shortly after the Bolshevik Revolution, right, the United States sent they didn't send them, but the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers sent militias out to guard the oil fields, and they were probably pissed off that, they stopped using their aspirin that they created out of petroleum products.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I want to say I just posted another link for this guy that's running for New Jersey Congress. Hamaway. He was on Democracy Now! This morning, and he was excellent. Go to the archive later, and 20 minutes in, Amy Goodman does a great interview with this guy. He's a doctor that was in Gaza. He saved Tammy Duckworth's life when she had her legs blown off. But he's also for Medicare for All. Excellent interview. Go to Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! About 20 minutes in from this morning.
I'll check it out for sure. Maybe we could pull up his website, Sleepy J. You got it?
Yeah, I just put it. I just put it up on the. There it is. There it is. That's it. That's it. Excellent. He's of Egyptian background.
Give me a second.
We're going to pull it up and put it right on the show here, guys. You're calling drive time in the morning.
The guy goes around the world and to do good work. He said, the guy's a saint.
Why is he running?
because he wants to change. He wants to change the system. He's for Medicare for all.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know,
I'm having a problem getting it up here.
Homaway for New Jersey. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Jersey.
I spelled it wrong. I'm stupid.
That's
So
why.
just
Here we
click the
go.
link. I put the link up. The link's in the chat.
I can't click the link. It won't let me.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, it's
Rumble link.
not formatted that way, but people can look at it, see it. They can, you know.
Yeah, they can. Yeah,
Yeah.
Our community can click it, but if I click it, it just puts it on.
Well, wait, I can go on the Rumble and click it. I can.
Yeah,
I can
it's
click
not-
it. Yeah,
Rumble, quick.
I just clicked it on from Rumble. Doctor, yeah.
You did it the other day.
Yeah, I did. I just went and clicked it. You
Remember
got it up?
that Pilati bitch that door
yeah.
loves.
I couldn't get it to come up.
I got it. I got it. Hold on a second. Let me share it real quickly. So, Bill.
Did it with Pilati, remember? That bitch that door is for?
Yeah, I still had her stuff up there. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
that's it right there. Dr.
Got it?
Right there. Dr. Adam how do you say his name? Hamaway? Hamawi or Hamawi? How do you
Hamawi. He's Egyptian.
Nice. A doctor, a veteran, a small business owner fighting for working families in New Jersey. And if you go to he's got a priorities about, let's take a look at his priorities. I like that he didn't put down a platform. He put down priorities. Healthcare. I believe healthcare is a basic human right, not a privilege. We talked about this today. What else is it? Medicare for all. He's there.
Told you.
Wow. Education, foreign policy. Let's see that. Most members of Congress to face consequences of votes on foreign policy as a former U.S. He's also an Army combat surgeon. For me, foreign policy is not something far off thing. It's personal. I wonder, he says some stuff. I wonder, to end the war, I served in Iraq and end the war. I wonder what he thinks about is he running as a Republican or a Democrat?
Democrat.
I wonder how he thinks about the Russia-Ukraine war.
I don't think they discussed that on Amy Goodman. It was mostly about Gaza and Israel. He was very
because
good.
They're trying to hide that stuff.
So if you look at his main page, the image scroll that goes through, eventually he does have somebody standing there holding the Ukrainian flag. It's not like that makes him guilty of any crime or anything, but just as if it's out of his foreign policy platform, but shows a Ukrainian flag in his B-roll footage.
Yeah, not great.
No, he mostly talked about Gaza with Amy Goodman. It was a very good interview.
I get that, but I want to see somebody running as a Democrat that's anti-Ukraine Russia war. You know what I'm saying? I want to see somebody say that we shouldn't be doing that.
I just want an anti-war candidate in general that's actually anti-war, not anti the other guy's war. You know, it's dumb.
Well,
the Medicare for all should be enough to,
like Obama was an anti-war candidate. Trump was an anti-war candidate twice.
The peace president.
Right. We have them, but once they get elected, they're not a candidate anymore. You know,
No.
I don't want an anti-war candidate.
That's why I ignore platforms at this point,
right.
because I have never seen any of these fucking politicians do anything they said they were going to do on the campaign trail.
You would probably have a better chance running right now as a pro-Israel, pro-war, pro-technocrat, and then use that to get into office and then change all of your positions once there. You would probably do better getting Medicare for all passed if you ran supporting the current system, because then you could actually get elected. If you wanted to play electoral politics.
We live in hell, man. This is stupid.
No, for real. For real. It's terrible.
Bill, how about those?
I just want to see a goddamn doctor, man. I haven't seen a doctor in 10 fucking years. I've had 10 fucking blood clots in the last 5 years. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Entenmann, how about those Knicks, by the way?
I don't watch, but I stopped watching after Jordan retired. I saw him twice in the Meadowlands. I haven't watched since.
Well, we have the return of Jordan.
Though. Green Bay Packers since 1967 in the Ice Bowl.
There's a Jordan-esque character on the Knicks now. His name is Jalen Brunson, and he's the underdog. He's like the opposite. He was drafted 33rd in the league, not 3 like Jordan. Jordan was drafted number 3. Should have been drafted number 2, but was drafted 3rd. You know, most of your players have been drafted in the top 10 that make the championship. I think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was drafted 11th. What's his name? The Stephen Curry, who won a bunch of titles, drafted 7th. This guy was drafted 33rd. He won a couple titles in Villanova. They haven't won since 1973. It's just a really great story. Strong character guys, good character guys on the New York Knicks. It makes it easy for them to root for. How far are you from the stadium?
About 45 miles north.
All right. You ain't got to worry about that's right. I forgot. You're all the way up there near Ossining and all those areas up there.
Oh, Somers. I used to live in Ossining.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. Aaron Judge is out for at least 6 weeks now. It doesn't matter.
Got it. Well, watch Jalen Brunson tonight.
Fractured rib, man.
Yeah. Watch Jalen Brunson tonight. We love you, Bill. Thank you so much for calling in, my man.
Yeah, check out Democracy Now! From this morning.
I'm going to check it out. That's Bill. Bill, we're thinking about.
Wait. Are you friends with Randy Credico?
I do have a line to Randy Credico. So does Andrew too, as well, because he's an Assange guy. But yes.
Yeah. I was going to say Julian Assange. He's on every Friday and Thursday on BAI. Or I'm sorry, today on BAI, 3:00.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Randy Credico.
His show's great. And man, just shout out to Randy. I mean, he kept that billboard truck going a lot longer than we could have alone. So
yeah,
he's a good guy, Randy.
That man did so much for the Assange stuff, and I just can't thank him enough.
He's good.
He has
people,
Roger
Randy.
Waters on a lot. I love Roger Waters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
His music and his politics.
Same.
He's got brass balls.
I love it.
Yeah, he don't give a fuck, man. And he's old, so he has like no fucks to give and just says whatever the hell he needs to say.
That's right. He's 80 years old now. Still a genius.
Yep.
We love you, Bill. We're going to get to the next call. We got somebody in the queue, man. Appreciate you calling in, man.
You have a good weekend, man. Thanks, man.
Thank you for supporting the show. Caller, you're on the air. Who are you? Where you calling from?
It has to ring through. Give it a sec.
All right. Let me know. You say it then.
Come on, Snorky. Here we go. He's here. All right. Hey, Snorky.
Oh, hi. Oh, you recognize me this time.
Yeah, I added the name
Iowa.
and the number.
You have WhatsApp, Snorky?
I'll go back a little ways on the healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
I invented something that was used for the space shuttle, and it was going to be on the next space shuttle, but space shuttle program got canceled. And a company that made toys in Denmark asked if they could use the technology, and I got sent to Denmark. And I got sick while I was in Denmark, and went into a pharmacy to get some medicine. And they asked, "Why are you here?" And I said, "I'm consulting over at the company. I don't want to mention names." And they go, "So you're here to help Denmark?" And I go, "I guess. You don't have any. You don't have to pay anything."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What? I'm not a Dane. I'm willing to pay. I'm not begging." And they go, "No, thank you." And totally. But I do feel that most of Europe's healthcare for the past 40 years has been funded through the United States, through our costs we spend on our bases there, keep them operational. The countries that started with the healthcare are the countries that we had bases in. Yeah. And then the next thing after healthcare, and I've never heard this mentioned, so you have a death in the family, you a lot of times you need a lawyer, and you might not be able to afford a lawyer. There are so many things that you need legal help for that we just can't afford. And proper legal aid is something that's almost reserved for the wealthy. And maybe not full legal aid for everybody, everything to do, but for the nominal tasks, things that happen in everyday life, even just being able to make a will. I would like there to be health care. Or not health care, legal care.
Legal care.
Not just not just when you get put in, you get arrested, but there should be a budget for you to at least speak to an attorney. And there are so many times where if somebody just had a little bit of assistance, a large number of problems could be taken care of.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
That, and I did send you an email, but I used my real name.
Where'd you send it to? Craig Jardula or Pasta to Go?
I can't remember. I got the address out of Pasta to Go on that, and my name is my email address.
Okay. So, is it your name?
But anyway, my real name, yes.
It's not Snorky.
I'm so old that my email address is just my name.
Gotcha. I was going to say .AOL.
Anyway, it's not AOL. It's a .org.
All right.
I wasn't a company. I wasn't government, so they gave me an org. But
I'm looking for it. I can't find it. Did you say Pasta? You sent it to Pasta to Go Show or Craig Jardula at Gmail? You don't remember?
Let me pull it up and see, because I should have a sent log.
Resend it right now and put it at the top of my feed, and then I'll find it. We can always do that, And guys, if you ever want to reach out, Pasta to Go Show at Gmail, right? Pasta to Go Show.
Pasta to Go at Gmail.
Pasta to Go at Gmail. Okay. I guess it's not Pasta to Go Show.
I'll let somebody else get on there so I can get out there. Oh, here we go. I couldn't find it.
All right. I see that. JJ,
all right,
got
I'll get that out today, and thanks for letting me in. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Hey, man, thanks for calling in, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Love you. Man, love some of the people calling on this show. That's awesome. Snorky, that guy's been around for so long. He's been a supporter since the break of dawn.
I remember him back when I did the other show.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We got some. So, Andrew, what do you got going on this weekend? Are you going to do anything fun with the kids or?
Nothing really. Got a birthday party to go to, and that's about it.
Nice.
Right, we got a last minute.
My life is literally as unexciting as I can make it.
When caller, what's your name? Where you calling
from? Fred. It's Fred.
Oh, it's Fred. Oh,
geez.
Fred, what's going on,
morning.
Fred?
Good morning, Pasta.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Andrew, got to flesh out that Harry Potter power dynamic a little bit more. That is I'd never noticed that before. I see it now. I read the books. I
didn't read them when I was a kid.
And control by the evil forces. It's amazing.
Doesn't that make sense when it's described like that, though? Like, I've listened to the whole series twice now in the last year, just because my children love it. And that's literally all I can think of when I listen to it, is how it is a literal, basically, manifesto for how an anarchist needs to design themselves and their community to fight back against government. Like, to even having people that work for the other side that you trust, that also help you, that are like the good people trying to do the right thing in the evil system. And like, it's just there's just so much that gets lost. Like, even to the point that like Jeffrey Epstein is fucking Voldemort, right? Like, Jeffrey Epstein has his genetic information stored in laboratories all across the world in their DNA samples, in case we're ever able to regenerate people. Like, he had his own private cloning labs at Zorro Ranch, where he ran like human experimentation and breeding programs. But like the difference is Voldemort wouldn't hurt the children. Like, he wanted them to like still be there because he needed a future generation. And where fucking Jeffrey Epstein is literally was trying to just replace kids and make them meat bags and use AI as humans.
It's I mean, it's all there. It's all there. It's blowing my mind
And I don't know if I'm just
t-shirt.
crazy, like if I'm seeing something that like wasn't intended when it was written.
How about
like,
both?
That's fair.
You're a little crazy, but we love you for it.
So like I just love getting to teach my kids about like the necessary of organizing outside of institutions of power to correct them. Like that's like the whole thing. Like I quiz them on it.
That's awesome.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
I wish my child was
had-
more receptive to such messages, but she's just all in her own world, man. She's also like a very young adult, so
And it's funny looking at Andrew. You think he's more of a Lord of the Rings guy than a Harry Potter guy? How wrong are we?
No, I don't like
he's
politics.
got kids.
That's you know, if you're a Lord of the Rings guy, you're on Peter Thiel's team. You know.
Oh, that's right. He's obsessed with that shit, huh?
Including J.D. Vance owning a bank named after like an evil institution from fucking Lord of the Rings series.
Good God. Why? They have to ruin everything that anyone likes.
So it's not the message in Lord of the Rings that Peter Thiel likes. There was a book written in Russian from the perspective of Sauron and the orcs as being an oppressed minority that were just trying to take their place among the other species of the world, that the other species of the world then said, we don't want you. And so Peter Thiel doesn't prescribe to the one ring needs to be destroyed theory. He prescribes to the we need the ring to rule the world theory.
Oh, good. What the fuck?
And that's why everything he has is named after Lord of the Rings. But you can find the book that he actually read, which was I don't know the name of it, but it was a Russian alternative Lord of the Rings history about the orcs' perspective on the wars.
They just wanted to be accepted, huh?
Yeah, that's like the whole thing is like they were just trying to participate in the world, and like we just, we had to kill the forests for us to survive, like it's not our fault that we needed your resources to live.
So
this is a crazy show today. I'm kind of like just paused and just listening to a lot of this stuff going on. Fred, you got anything else to say, brother?
Just had a couple of really good teachers when I was growing up. One, the English teacher in 7th grade, actually used music and sitcoms to teach allegory and metaphors and symbolism. And to this day, every time I hear a song, I want to break it down and find out what the message is behind the lyrics. And I've never applied that to books. And that's where I see the Harry Potter thing coming from with Andrew. That similar idea that there is an undertone that you need to tweeze out and get a better understanding of what the story is about. It's amazing. Thank you, guys.
I think we got to continue to share those. Yeah, Fred, listen, we got to continue to share those so we can use them for ourselves to teach stuff what's going on. I want to learn more about that too as well. You got a song or something that teaches something or whatnot? The Michael Jackson movie just came out not too long ago, and I didn't like it so much because I thought it concentrated on demonizing his father. And I get it. Like, his father, Joe Jackson, was a lot like Ike Turner, and he was abusive and whatnot. But I think that Michael Jackson was probably killed by the elites. That there was that song that says they don't really care about us, and what did it really mean? And I know that's a little bit more like not as much hidden. It's kind of like in your face, but
that was what Rockwell, I think, though, with Michael Jackson backing.
What's that?
I think so. That song you're talking about.
They don't really care about us.
If I could recommend a music artist, I would say look up Idea and Abilities.
Oh, I might be thinking of a different.
I know who they are. They're
I love Idea, man. That was like in my early 20s. That's like what got me through life.
They were on Stone's Throw for a while. I think the label they MF Doom did some music with them too out in Minnesota when he did a couple songs out there.
Yeah, I spent a long time like going through the internet collecting all of Ideas, like old music or like CDs that were only sold at concerts and like freestyle tracks and stuff. And I would just say listen to The Dive Part 1 and 2 as a starting point for him because it's just awesome.
Yeah, Brother Ali's from out there too. They're all part of that same clan. I saw Ideas and Abilities a long time ago.
Did you really?
long
That's
time ago.
That's awesome.
A long time ago. They were in LA. They were coming through, and it was they were opening up. It was an MF Doom show. Brother Ali was on second, so it was those three.
Okay, I didn't even know Brother Ali and fucking Idea had like anything together. That's cool, man.
I think they were on the same label. I think is it Stone's Throw? Was it? Idea was on Rhyme. It was a different label in Minnesota. I can't remember.
Yeah,
MF Doom did an album there, and Brother Ali. Yeah, maybe it's not Stone's Throw. It's something else, but it was definitely a Minnesota thing. Minnesota.
That's cool.
Andrew, let everybody know where they can find you. You'll be back next Friday with us. Andrew's going to be our solid Friday guy, bringing the stories of Harry Potter and healthcare for all. I just want to know. We love you, Fred. I just want to know if what was the name of the character that was Jeffrey Epstein in
Voldemort, the main bad guy.
Was Voldemort for Medicare for all? Yes or no?
If you were probably like a pureblood. You know?
So like Nazi Medicare for all.
Right. Like if you were part of his like demographic of superiority, then he would have given you Medicare.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Where can people find you? What else are you doing? What's going on? Let everybody know.
I'm really doing nothing else. You can find me at Twitter at Andrew Zigman, the same little name doodad that's like right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just do this, man. I've fallen off politically. At least I was doing anti-Epstein stuff for a while, and I'm going to get involved in data centers again. But just right now, I've just been enjoying the time being a dad.
Well, that's awesome. And I knew that you had to get back in the game, and that's why I kind of forced you to come on and do this with me. I was so happy when you said yes. Right. No, I know Andrew's always got a lot of great things to say. You know, he's out there doing the work. He's an activist. The work he did with Assange is amazing. And I just wanted to provide a platform and an outlet for him to express himself.
And just a side note, he's the best leafleter poster putter-upper in the world. This guy will put up a fucking poster like 12 feet up on a pole so motherfuckers can't remove it. It's great. Yeah.
It's a level of autism for real. That's what that is.
It's fantastic, dude.
Some people are walking around packing a gun. He's got one of those staple guns that he's...
No, like the way I look at it is if we get to the point where we need the Second Amendment to defend the First, we've already lost, you know? So like I just use the First Amendment as my gun. Like that's...
There you go. Andrew Zigman, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next Friday. I love you, Andrew. Have a great weekend.
You too, buddy.
Great weekend, Andrew.
Good stuff to you and your family.
Good luck on your date tonight. I hope you figure out something.
I'm just gonna bite the bullet and go for sushi. I'm just gonna do it. Gonna hit the wallet hard. I'm gonna use it. Put it on the credit card because I don't have the money to do it. So I'm gonna. That's what you got to do sometimes, I guess, because the weather's not gonna let me do Chinese food on the beach, and we'll see how things work out. I'll let everybody know how my date went on Monday. I don't know. I got a feeling like this is gonna be a good date. You just get those feelings. But I've had so many good dates before where things have been perfect, and then, you know, that other person kind of freaks out because things are too good, right? Like, I've been in relationships like that where girls have broke it off because there was nothing to fight about, and it was just too good. I don't know. I just think that's so weird. And I don't think that's a trait within women. I think men do the same thing. That there are people out there where things are just too good. They got to find a way to just fuck it up, right?
They need drama.
I don't even know if it's they need drama. I just think they just kind of they have this kind of like this get out of here kind of like, you know, fleeing kind of mentality sometimes, and when things are too good. I don't know. There's something about it. I can't express myself fully on it today, but I'll bring it back to the table. Maybe I'll write it out so I can explain it and stuff. But there is that kind of mindset with people. Let's cue the music, maestro.
1 second.
Here we go. All right. And the peace we cultivate with our neighbors. In a world that often feels divided, it's our differences that can actually bring us together. Every unique perspective, every story shared, enriches our collective experience and fosters understanding. Remember, it's okay to disagree. It's how we handle those disagreements that truly matters. Let's embrace dialogue over debate, compassion over conflict. When we listen to one another, we open the door to meaningful relationships. By engaging with our diverse communities, we can find common ground and build bridges that promote peace. So I encourage you to reach out with somebody with a different viewpoint. Share a meal, have a conversation, share a cup of coffee, or simply listen. Let's create a ripple effect of kindness and understanding in our neighborhoods and beyond, because sometimes conflict can often bring resolution. Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Remember, together we can celebrate our diversity and pave the way for a brighter, more peaceful future. So until next time, keep that dialogue flowing and that peace growing. For Sleepy J, Andrew, all our people, beautiful people in the chat, by the way. I starred one comment really quickly. I don't want to forget about it. Let me look at it real quickly because somebody left a super chat the other day. No. This is the one. A rumble rant. I don't want to forget about you out there. Got type 1 diabetes, but I can support and balance between libertarian and communist policies on healthcare. There can be more freedom in areas while making sure I don't get scammed to literal death. And that was, I had to read that. That was from yesterday. Thank you so much. And thank you to all who supported the show. Gabrielle Freedom in the chat. Fred Edward, who called on in. Entenmann Bill, I love you. The professor, all the cool people out there. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew, on Fridays. I'm excited to have you aboard. And thank you to Sleepy J, who helped put this thing together. Jamie Cheese Slice was hanging out in the ones and twos. Go check out around 12:30, about 2.5 hours, maybe close to 3 hours. We'll be doing a Truth Wire with Fiorella Isabel. And until Monday, and we see you back here on the show, I love you all. Peace.